Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 8th episode of CelebWorx Live series Yo-Jo RAPS, an inside look into the iconic series of G.I. Joe, a real American hero. On this episode, you will find out what I and Footloose have in common. I'm Christopher Arsaga.
I'm Nery Lemus. Thanks for joining us on our newest inside look where knowing will no longer be half the battle.
To the general public, if you have any G.I. Joe questions or really any questions in general for our special guest or for us, please post them on our official stream and we will answer them if we can.
I'm excited to bring on this friend to the program. Jamie Sullivan is a fan favorite cover artist for IDW's G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero comic series. He's also the artist for Toynami's current line of Robotech toys and limited edition prints. Jamie has also worked for companies such as Disney, Marvel, and Lucasfilm, and he's the co-creator and artist for the comic series 4 Reasons to Own a Death Ray. Jamie's attention to detail, inventive composition, and deep love for the subject matter he works with have only increased his fan following over the years. We are proud to call him a friend. Please welcome our friend, Jamie Sullivan, to today's program.
Yay!
Hey guys.
Hey Jamie, how are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
I always feel like when we do an introduction that we should do like the Kermit the Frog. We're like, yay!
Definitely have the Muppets in the background.
I think I'll have to go buy a Kermit puppet or something.
So I'm going to get us started off. We ask everybody that gets on here, how the hell are you doing? We haven't seen you in forever. What are you doing? Because you're not at shows with us this weekend. So
No.
So tell us what you're doing. What do you do to stay sane?
I think I have every streaming service that there is available now, and I do believe I've watched everything that there is available on all of those streaming services. So if you want to talk about those, I could rate them in order of how good and how bad they are. Very disappointed in DC streaming services.
Really?
Yeah.
You mean DC Universe?
Yes.
Dude, okay, here we go. We're laying it out there for everybody to hear. Thank you for mentioning that. It's something that I whine about constantly to everybody. So please tell me.
How do you not have everything that they've done on their streaming service? Like, why do I still have to go to like HBO Max to watch something, or Netflix, or
on there? They don't have Justice League. Like what?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Even Disney ponied up the money to eventually have all of the Star Wars titles, except for the Ewok movies, which is that's a travesty.
The Ewok Adventure needs to be on there.
I think that is such an underrated movie. I mean, who doesn't
I love
like
the Ewok movies.
I do too.
At the end. I love that crap.
They even talk about on Disney Channel the most recent episode of the Gallery for Mandalorian, where they do the round table.
Dude,
they even talk about where the blurgs come from is from one of the Ewok movies, and oh, by the way, the first appearance of this creature that's so prominent in the Mandalorian is from the Ewok movies, but sorry, you can't watch them on our streaming service, so I apologize. They don't even have the Ewok cartoons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Or the droids, right?
Or the droids. Or the holiday special, which they even make a joke on, about on the last episode of Gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So yes, I could rate all of the streaming services, and
who wins then? I want to know who wins for you.
As far as the best streaming service,
yeah, it cut him out. I think.
Uh-oh.
I would say it's a toss-up between probably Netflix and HBO Max at this point. HBO Max, they only got me because they had Fantastic Planet on HBO Max, this old French cartoon from the 70s. And
that's the only thing that won you over.
The reason I watched them because I was about to buy that movie and it was on HBO Max, and I was like, okay, well, I've watched it. I watched it twice. Now I don't have to watch HBO Max anymore. Well, and then I found I was watching the Jaws movies. They have all 4 Jaws movies on there, which, 5 feet away, I have them all on Blu-ray. but they're on HBO Max, so I'm just going to stream them through that.
It's more convenient. I don't have to walk to my bookcase to grab the DVD.
Hey, that's exactly right.
Get the Blu-ray and put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I just bought the 4K for Jaws, but I'm watching it on HBO Max. So I don't. Yeah.
I'm sure it's the same quality though. I mean, if people don't know, Jaws just had a major anniversary from the time it came out. So I assume that's why you were watching it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I went and I picked up. I bought. Had to go to Best Buy and get the Steelbook. For Jaws. So
we need to go back a step and I need to like air my grievance against DC like publicly because I don't care. Like, when I'm on the Warner Brothers lot, DC guys, if you see me, come and talk to me. I'll tell you how to fix everything. But I mean, dude, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the shows, like the exclusive content, like Titans and Doom Patrol, are actually really good shows.
They are.
I mean, Doom Patrol to me, I mean, I love that show. I think it's amazing. It was always one of my favorite comic books. And seeing it actually like live action, like Robot Man, is like insane. Like it's so cool. And Brendan Fraser is phenomenal in it.
Yep.
It's so
By the way, the first 3 episodes of season 2 are up today.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
See, we're plugging them too, but it's on HBO Max now.
It is on HBO Max.
So
it's not DC.
And actually, have you seen Stargirl yet?
I have, and it's very good.
I was blown away how good it was. I was like, what?
It reminds me of the first season of The Flash.
Yeah.
Just in how good it was, yeah.
And you know what? I'm a sucker for any time that they have Dr. Fate mention or his helmet in a show. I am a sucker for that. Every time. Like,
and Green Lantern.
Nelson Kent. They have his Nelson Kent.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are a lot of deep cuts in that show. Like you'd have to be an Uber fan to understand quite a bit of them. But absolutely. They're awesome.
They make so many references, and I'm like, oh man, the JSA references, and so good, man. But so it's fun. It's funny. I'll tell you this quick story. I think everybody will think this is kind of funny. I have a baseball card shop in Burbank, and one day I'm sitting there and I'm having this conversation with somebody. Just some random guy, and Warner Brothers is literally right up the street. Like, it's like, no joke, like walking distance from my store. And so sometimes I forget to hold my tongue because I'm so passionate about comics, and I'm a DC geek first. Like, I love DC, but I love Marvel too, but DC's like my passion. And so I'm talking to this guy and we're having this same conversation, and I'm like, he asked me, like, out of all of these things I'm critiquing, he goes, hey, what do you think about Doom Patrol? And I'm like, yeah, dude, that show, it's so well written. I love the characters. They do it the source material justice. And he's like, thank God I'm one of the writers on that show.
That's so funny.
I'm like, oh my God, thank you. But he came back and he actually brought me a backpack. Anybody who goes to a show now, they might see me wearing it, but I'm going to have my Doom Patrol backpack. He actually brought me a crew backpack.
That's pretty cool.
I was like, dude, yes.
I don't get anything cool like that working on G.I. Joe.
I know. We need to like raise our fists and get.
You probably get a bunch of angry emails saying, Jamie, where's the product? Where's the product? You got to turn it in.
They don't even send me that. Like, if it's a character or something, like, here's a picture. Here's a digital file showing a picture of the character. Enjoy.
That's terrible, man. It's so funny how often we hear that from our clients, like all of our different clients. I mean, for example, and I'm going to pitch our next show on Sunday inadvertently, but Diane Pershing, was Poison Ivy on animated series. And she was like, they gave her one cell, like one animation cell. And that's all they really got, right, Nery?
Yeah, something like that. It was, I mean, a lot of people that work, I mean, it's not only Warner Brothers, but it's, any major studio, any company doesn't think, oh, well, give the product to the people that actually worked on it. Usually it's the producers or the people, the showrunners that pony up the money to provide something nice, like a nice memento from the series. So, I mean, it's just whatever. It is what it is.
It's like all the turtle guys got their jackets, like the original 80s turtles. they made them like these really cool Letterman jackets, and it has like their character embroidered into them.
Yeah.
So it says like Mikey and it's Michelangelo, and yeah, dude, it's super cool, man.
Speaking of voiceover, I mean, I know, Jamie, you have had a career sort of in the voice background, radio background,
Yeah,
in the 90s in
yeah.
Northern California. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was actually an on-air personality DJ. You know, it's a DJ. People like to say on-air personality because it makes them sound a little more professional.
Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was on Quad 106.5 in
That's cool.
Sacramento from, oh my gosh, 92 to 96, 97. Aaron just
For
chimed in.
people that
7.
don't know, that's Erin Sullivan. That's
Erin,
Jamie's
we
wife
love
in the back.
you.
Erin for the win. That was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, I was on there for a long time. I started out doing commercials, and then I moved into doing overnights, and then finally I was evening on air, and then the program director left, and a new guy came on, and pretty much the whole staff changed at that point. But the station doesn't exist anymore in Sacramento. At one point, it was the #1 modern rock station in the United States, just behind K-Rock.
Wow.
And yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting.
So it was fun. I mean, that was during the time I was there. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Did you have your own on-air personality voice? Everybody does.
No, I mean, I
Nery
sound.
does.
I just I was never a boss jock.
That was pretty good, Chris. That was good.
A boss jock is one of those guys that kind of toes the line and does like the breaks and the cool voice, and I never did that. I was really young, and I was really into the music, and I just talked like I normally did. The only thing different was I went by a different name on air. So
do we dare ask?
Oh no, it was a different last name. It was Jamie Gates.
Jamie
Okay.
Gates.
Yeah, and people are like, "Where did you come up with the name?" Like, and everything. One of the pieces of equipment, was next door to the studio. All of them had this label on it that said Gates. That made the name of the company that made the equipment, and so I was like, "Oh, Jamie Gates. There you go," because he needed something on the spot.
Could have been Jamie Diggler. Never know.
It could. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
What was it like sort of recording? I mean, in the sense that what was it like in the booth? I mean, it's a totally different feeling. Like,
it was a lot of, I mean, it was a different time too. You didn't have like the internet in this regard. You didn't have,
right.
Zoom and Facebook and stuff like that. It was kind of exhilarating thinking that when you turn on the mic and you started talking, that there were, hundreds of thousands of people possibly listening to you at one time. Right. And the transmitter that we had was up in El Dorado Hills. So I don't know if you're familiar with Northern California, but it was up in the El Dorado Hills. So the that stick could transmit. You could pick up quad all the way into San Francisco.
Wow.
So
yeah, pretty far.
Yeah.
Is there any like we do this show, every week, and I make a bunch of mistakes. Was there any time or any story you have where you made a mistake on air?
Oh my God.
He's like, here.
Yeah. So the first night that I took over the nighttime slot, I had to work on Monday night, and for the first hour I had to host the punk show called Interference. And if you're familiar with punk music at all, the songs are super short.
Yeah.
I mean, like super short. And so I'm scrambling, trying to find CDs to put in because I don't know the lay of the land in that main studio. And I don't have the CDs set up for the next hour after the punk show. And I'm supposed to come out at the top of the hour after, we do the call letters and stuff, Quad 1, KWOD, 106.5 Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto. You have to do all that stuff. And I'm supposed to come out of that playing Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
And I play the I couldn't find, they had a cartridge. It's basically like an 8-track that they have like the radio edit of that song on. I couldn't find it. So I was like, yeah, I'll grab the album on CD and put it on the track. And I put that on and play it. I didn't realize that I'd forgotten at the time that the track was like riddled with F-bombs. And thank God, it was on after, 10 p.m. when like the FCC doesn't monitor anymore. They don't care.
I won't do what you tell me.
Yeah. And
I love it.
The as soon as I start playing it, like 5-10 seconds into it, the hotline, the studio phone starts flashing, and it's my program director, and he's like, "Hey, man, what the hell are you doing?" Because he talked like Alex talks like that. Alex Cosper talked like that, and I was like sweating profusely, panicking, and I just got through the song and went through the rest of the night. But I stumbled, I screwed up the things I was supposed to say, and but after about a week, it was a breeze. I kind of knew, I knew where everything was at. Once you are comfortable with your surroundings and where everything was at in the studio, like the talking and everything falls into place.
Right.
And then you can just be natural because you're not thinking about all of that other stuff. But it was a blast. I loved it. But yeah, there are oh my God, there's so many crazy stories.
So you're telling me I have no excuse because I'm home. There's nothing.
Very true. Very true.
It's funny because Nery and I, like, we're both. He's like, he's very concerned about messing up, and we're done. I'm like, dog, you were great, bro. Like, everybody loves you. You're amazing, and he just doesn't. So everybody needs to write in the feed today.
No, do not. Absolutely not. That's the last thing I need for my ego, is to have a bunch of people sending in saying that I was terrific.
Do it, everybody.
Once you stop, you forget about a script.
Yeah.
Like, there are times when I'd have to read off a script when we're talking about like upcoming concerts or something like that, or doing an on-air spot. But once you get past that and just start talking, like I would just start talking to the people that I thought were listening and talking about the music, and then
right.
It sounded much more natural.
I know. I'm only playing around. I mean, this is not really that difficult because, of course, it's, we have you on and you're a friend, but sometimes we have some clients on that I haven't seen in like 3 or 4 months, and I'm like, okay, there's a lot riding on this.
He's like, yeah, I don't want to ruin it. I want them to continue to work with us.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Nery.
No, I was going to say, like, if you bumble like an idiot on here, they're like, this is the guy negunegotiating for me?
Exactly. I'm trusting him with my life.
Yeah.
Ding dong. So I guess we should probably start talking about what the namesake of the show is, by the way.
G.I. Joe RAPS.
We've been talking for 20 minutes about everything else. So how did you start doing work for IDW? I mean, right? You started with IDW and doing G.I. Joe, or did you do
I started with G.I. Joe. We owned a comic book shop a long time ago. And we were at San Diego Comic-Con, and I ran into Tom Waltz, who's been a friend of ours. He used to come and sign at the shop. We've been friends now for going on 11 years. And I ran into him at the show, and at the time I was looking for something, to do in the comic field. And we had talked about Turtles because he had been writing Turtles. He's like, well, I have something exciting that just happened. If you promise not to talk to anybody about it, like, I can tell you. And he had told me that he had taken over editing a bunch of like the Hasbro titles. And he was like, have you ever thought about doing GI Joe. And I was like, oh my God, that'd be amazing. He goes, because he's like, I love your work. I know how well you can draw, and like, here's a couple of ideas that I had. Why don't you try them? And so he kind of gave me the idea he had for this issue that he wanted me to do. It was issue 248, and I did it exactly how he wanted, and it was awful. the cover turned out awful. I got picked apart on it. The fans were not receptive, needless to say. There was like they're like, the rattlers don't look right. The Arashikage symbol on the arm doesn't look right, or behind him it's not the right space, like the right distance between the bars. I'm like, seriously? They complain that Zartan looked too young, and
is it the one with Mindbender on it too?
Yes.
That one's yours? Okay, I'm looking right now.
Yeah, and
I think it looks great.
But see, what's really funny is because of the layout, I had to change one thing on there that wasn't. The one thing that nobody complained about was I drew the monocle on Dr. Mindbender's opposite eye, the one that it's not supposed to be on. Yeah. Yeah, he desperately wants to be Dr. Mindbender. But they never mentioned that. So I thought, I'm done with G.I. Joe, and so Tom says, I have this idea for vehicle covers, but I just kind of want you to do your own thing. I want a run of 5 covers, based on some of the vehicles. And then, so I did them. And the first one that they released was the one with Ace, in the cockpit shot with the Night Ravens below him.
Yeah, I love that one.
And he messaged me. He's like, I just shared it on Twitter, and it like broke our Twitter feed. And he was very excited about it. Yeah. So after that,
cool.
They just kind of let me go. There's been a couple changes here and there that like Hasbro's requested, most of which were, there was a jetpack cover that I did as part of those 5. And
I remember that one too.
Yes, they're blowing up the building.
Yep, and he's coming up straight up at
the Duke and Scarlet and Tunnel Rat.
Yep,
and
I like that cover.
Hasbro was not a fan of that in the beginning. They were like, what's going on here? It looks like, they're blowing up this building. And so on the fly, I make up this whole story where they're captured and Tunnel Rat shows up with jetpacks to save them, and a firefight breaks out and the floor of the building is blown up. And they're like, that's awesome. That's so great. Like, oh my God, thank God. And then Tom really knew what it was. And he's like, you're going to go down in infamy as like the first G.I. Joe artist to draw a cover like depicting domestic terrorism, by the Joe team. And their only sticking point was on Duke's shoulder. I had drawn a patch, a red circle, and it was the Action Team logo. And it was just a little tip of the hat to the fans of the 1960s characters. Cool. And they weren't having it. And I was like, trust me, when it reduces, you'll barely even see it. And back and forth with them, and I got to leave it on. So that cool. was a sticking point. And then the giant connecting cover, I had drawn 2 of the characters that were in there, and the original art for it were Sergeant Slaughter and the Fridge. And then after I got it all drawn, now I don't draw stuff digitally. Right. Everything is pen and ink on paper. That massive connecting cover that I just did is almost 8 feet long. Yeah. And
Nery, you can put that one up. I think we have a
picture.
Yeah, there's a picture of it.
It's on the website. Hold on.
The Fridge and Sergeant Slaughter had to be removed after I'd already drawn them.
Why?
Like, oh yeah, by the way, we don't have the likeness rights anymore, so you got to take them out. So,
oh, man, they can get the likeness right. Refrigerator Perry in like 2 seconds. Give me a break.
I don't know. I think it might have been an issue.
No, that's Star Wars, Nery.
I'm pulling it up. Relax.
He's slipping through it. He's going through the.
Hold on.
There's a lot of stuff on there.
This one?
That one.
That's the colored version. It's the black and white has the original line art has the
Let's find it. I don't think you have it on this page. That's the one. I think that's the 8-footer, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. Forgive me. You can see some of Jamie's art here. He does a beautiful job. I mean, a lot of them are classic covers now.
So pretty.
Thanks.
I like that one, the 82 one.
Oh yeah, with all 13 Joes on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one.
And that's the one you just passed was the cover for 256. That was the Night Ravens.
Yeah, and everybody can keep an eye out for that one. We're going to do something special coming up that we'll be announcing.
But yeah, so that's how I got into G.I. Joe. That's the problems, not really problems, but the changes that Hasbro has wanted. Other than that, they kind of just let me go with it, you know.
Now, I have a question because we've talked about this at shows before. I mean, your job is not an easy job. People think, oh, cover artist, well, you're just doing art. I mean, there's a process to all this. And I mean, I know there's certain difficulties that you have while working in this industry. So can we talk a little bit about those difficulties?
Difficulties working in the comic book industry. Well, don't pick this as a job if you want to get like rich or eat on a regular basis, you know, stuff like that. It's really hard too because a lot of times in this industry, you're only as good as the last piece of work that you've done. And so if you do something that the fans don't like, it doesn't matter if you've drawn all this other stuff in the past. Like if you do something that the fans don't like, that's all they remember you for is the last one. So I'm always constantly trying to one up myself.
Yeah.
And also with COVID, you know, like IDW shut down for a couple months and they're like, stop drawing, you know, because we're not putting out books. I didn't. I had to stop for other reasons, but you know,
yeah,
I just stopped because of my eyesight at the time. But it's difficult and it's cutthroat business. There are a lot of people in this world that can draw.
Yeah.
There's a lot of smart people that are like, oh, I can draw, but I'm not going to draw comic books because you know I want to make a living. But you know,
yeah, unless your name is like Jim Lee or Todd McFarlane, like,
and even those guys aren't making a living drawing now. Jim Lee is like the CEO of DC or some shit, and Tom McFarlane makes toys.
Yep,
that's how he makes. You know,
it's true.
Like if he was still just drawing Spawn right now, he'd be poor. Yeah, he'd be like, I have a baseball for sale. You know, like can somebody like
now
take this off my hands? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not worth anything anymore.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's probably still trying to sell it.
Yeah, it's not as much as it used to be, but I mean, you know, it's funny.
I would never own it.
Do you ever follow? Do you follow Jim Lee at all on Instagram or?
A little bit.
Did you see that he was putting out like he was doing drawings for like charity or something?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I was like, holy crap! And did you see the prices he's getting on those things?
Yes.
Holy cow!
Right.
He had a Dr. Fate that I was like, oh man, I might have to try to get it. And
yeah.
What it went for, I'm like, no.
And then, how much do I love one of my kidneys?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, am I really attached to it? Because that's basically what you'd have to do. Yeah.
Give up one of my kids for one.
Yeah.
And speaking of kids,
I have two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, how are your kids? They're growing up in the industry.
Well, my oldest daughter, her first San Diego Comic-Con, she was a year old. And Chloe's, my youngest daughter, her first San Diego Comic-Con, she was like 3 months old? Yeah, she was 3 months old. Erin's holding up her fingers, by the way. She's like, she's over there like 3 months. 3 months. But they're 18 and 15 now. Audrey's on her way to USC.
Whoa! Congratulations! That's great.
Thanks. Being a comic book illustrator, yeah.
You're gonna be a doctor.
I gotta draw like 2 covers a day every day for the next 35 years to pay for that.
Yeah.
It's well worth it, though. It's gonna be well worth it. Watch.
Yeah,
It's gonna be like,
okay.
yeah.
I'll continue to buy. I have this one that I bought from you, so.
Oh yeah, a recreation of the.
Anytime I see cool stuff, I'll buy, especially if I can get my guys to sign it.
Yeah, that one was fun. That was a fun one to do.
This was in Pasadena, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love this one. It's one of my favorites.
Thanks.
I love Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes. Everybody loves those too. So.
Yeah, everybody loves Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes. Speaking of Snake Eyes, the second week of July, I believe it's July 13th. There is a like a one shot. It's called Complete Silence. It's a reprint of G.I. Joe number 21 and 21.5, and I did the cover for that.
Nice.
So I'm pretty excited about that one.
That is exciting. Absolutely.
That's everybody's like all-time favorite issue.
Right.
Is the Marvel 21, the silent one.
Yeah. The fact that I got to be linked to that in some way was pretty amazing.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I think we're probably pretty close in age, but
I'm 47.
I'm way older than you. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I'm in my 40s. Shh, don't tell anybody. But yeah, dude, when I was in junior high, man, that issue, like the 21, when it came out, everybody flipped their lid. They were like, right. And it's crazy because there's like no good copies of it out there because I think everybody read the hell out of it.
Of course they did. Yeah.
Everybody's lazy. They don't want to read. They just want to look at the pictures. And it was perfect. And
some of the printings of it are near impossible to find. I want to say it's like the second or third printing. Third printing, yeah. See, you're doing the same thing that Aaron does. Yeah.
I don't do the German 3.
Yeah.
Everybody who watches Django knows that one.
Right.
The German 3.
Yeah. So that issue is very difficult to find. I don't own one. And
I have like, dude, I think I have like 4 of them, maybe something like that. I have one signed by Larry too.
Of a third print? Do you really?
Yeah, I've got, dude. You should see all my.
Why are you holding out?
I have almost 2 complete sets of 1 through 155. I'm like pretty close to 2 complete sets, and then there's some issues I have like probably like 10 or 15 of each one in different grades, and it's got different variants.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have so many. And Nery and I, when we first started doing this, because we have so many G.I. Joe guys, we were like, hey, you know what? Like, let's get get comic books signed because we both like comic books. And after a while, I was like, dude, I've got way too many comic books.
We realized how stupid it was to buy so many comics because now I don't have space anywhere. As you guys can see, it's a warehouse in my place.
Yeah.
So
comic books take up 8 room, and I'm too old for long boxes.
Absolutely.
Like, all my boxes are for young people. Yeah,
my stuff's in short boxes because I can't. And especially
you can't lift it.
I have to keep my stuff up high. I'm not going to take a long box from like off a shelf up top. Like that ain't going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
It's funny. I think that I have, and it goes to, and I think the one issue that you did, the one with the Sky Striker on it, that was like a homage to issue 34, right? Where it's got Ace in the front and the Rattlers behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like so that issue, there's a little bit of trivia. That's the one that I own the most of. I think I have 25 copies of that issue.
Why?
Because our first client was Pat Fraley, and Pat Fraley in the cartoon played Wild Weasel and Ace. He played both,
Wild Weasel,
and they're both on the cover.
Yeah.
So I had him sign. Like I have probably 20 of them signed by him. So if you want one, I'll hook you up. I got plenty. I think Nery's probably got like 15 of them.
My favorite G.I. Joe cover of all time is number 11, Bob Camp with Snow Job and Doc. Coming down the hill.
Yeah,
on the battle.
Love that issue.
That's my favorite G.I. Joe cover of all time.
Yep. Yeah. Mine's the one with Storm Shadow and Destro on the cover. I forgot.
Where he's in the foreground looking at Destro, and Destro's got the gun pointed at him.
Love that issue.
That's a Zek cover, right? Yeah, that's a Mike Zek cover.
Yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
Mike Zek.
That used to be one of my favorite covers. It's not anymore.
The insiders know why, but
Yeah. Anything with Destro now, I don't even want to look at it anymore. I don't even care anymore. Anybody that wants to know anything Destro related, don't even want to look at it anymore.
I know why. So
Overrated character, absolutely. For all the GI Joe fans, it's not even worth it. Not even worth it. Go like Storm Shadow or something. Go like Duke. Go like Scarlet. Don't like Destro.
I'm gonna pick a different cover now. You know what? There is, believe it or not, there is one that I really, really like, and I'm trying to remember what number it is. I want to say it's in the 30s, but there's one where it's Zartan and I think Gung Ho's on the cover. I'm trying to remember which one that is. It's one of my favorite ones, though.
Yes, Zartan is leaning up against a wall.
Yeah.
So when I drew, funny story about that cover is when I drew that 248, one guy posted in the comment thread on IDW's comments, he's like, "That's not Zartan. This is what Zartan should look like," and then shared that original cover. And I was like, "Thanks."
Oh my god! So we have, just to interject here, we have one of our clients watching, and they wrote, "You are bad," and I think she
is it Morgan?
It's Morgan.
We love you, Morgan.
Go like the Baroness, everyone. Go be a fan of the Baroness, please.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Here, I got a better one. Okay. Storm Shadow cover, G.I. Joe number 46. It's the one with Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, and they're breaking through the wall. And Storm Shadow's guys. I love that cover too.
Yeah.
That's my favorite cover.
I love the one too where Storm Shadow's kicking him off the elevated train.
Oh yeah.
I love that one. That one's
that cover's incredible.
Like early 20 issue, I think. Like 22 or something like that.
One of the comics that I like the most to cover is, I think it's the one where we have Michael Bell, Corey Burton. It's Tomax.
Is it the one where it's the Crimson Twins and
yes,
they're on the roller coaster?
I love that cover.
That's a great cover.
That's
right? Isn't it's Flint in Footloose, right?
No, it's Flint and it's
Flint's like, leaning forward. Yeah,
Roadblock's on it too, right?
Yeah,
isn't it Roadblock, Flint, and the Crimson Twins?
I found it. No. It is. It's Footloose and Flint.
Oh yes, you're right. It is Footloose.
Flint's jumping off onto I think I want to say it's Tomax, but
yeah. They're twins.
I can't see
either one.
If you got the scar or not. So
right. I tried to get a good friends of ours. Were having twins, and I tried desperately convincing them to name their boys Tomax and Zaymont. And I was like, around 2 or 3, all you gotta do is cut one of their faces.
Yeah,
it'll heal.
Have a little, Don't worry, he'll get ice cream when we're done.
Right.
Oh my god!
But that's one of my goals. One of my goals is eventually I would like to create something iconic like that people, 30 years from now remember, on one of the G.I. Joe covers. One of these days.
My goal is not to create something iconic; it's to be something iconic. So, I understand. I get it. I know the desire or the feeling.
Yeah. So, I'm never going to be iconic. Look at me.
Oh God! Look at us.
Out the window.
Look at us.
Come on.
Some of these actors that we have, they're iconic in their own right, and sometimes that's all you need is to be iconic in your own right. Right.
Right.
True. I mean, you got your hat on and everything, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
True story. True story.
Hey, I'm already on a comic cover.
You are on a comic cover.
Can you tell us a little bit about this, Chris? Because I don't think I've heard the full story.
Yes, tell us. Tell us a little bit about this.
On the connecting cover that you just had up, for everybody out there, Jamie put a bunch of different people from his life and his inspirations and stuff. Like Larry Hama's on there too, right?
No.
No, not yeah. I just outed you, by the way.
Larry's been on enough GI Joe covers.
Yeah, he's been on it, but it's like a bunch of people that you know, right? Like,
No, he actually. I take that back. Larry is on it. Larry is Tunnel Rat.
see, there you go.
I think.
I knew it.
I
knew Tunnel Rat
think.
was
I don't know. I drew it a long time ago.
But yeah, so anyways, Jamie drew me as Footloose on the cover, so
there you go.
Got the cover, yay! Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah, you made the cover.
And I'm sure it was Erin that like convinced you. She was like, "Yeah, you should probably put Chris on there so you can be on his show."
That's exactly what happened.
Oh,
she
yeah,
planned that. Like, she planned that out a year and a half ago.
Yeah,
she was playing the long game.
Yeah,
quite a highlight in Jamie's career to be on our show. Okay,
that's right.
Totally.
Like, oh, yeah, after drawing many covers, I need to be on CelebWorx show.
I mean, a lot of people know your artist background, Jamie, but a lot of people don't know that you worked in the toy industry. You know,
yeah.
Can we tell fans a little bit about that?
I've done package work for a lot of companies, but most recently it's Toynami. I do the box art, the painted box art for Robotech. I had done a piece that I believe I sent the picture to you, Chris. I had drawn this piece where all of these Valkyries are flying past like the bridge of the SDF-1, heading off into battle in the sunset. And I did it for fun, and I turned it into a print that I was going to sell at WonderCon. And a guy from Toynami comes over to the booth, and he's like, "George from Toynami would like to purchase one of these." And I was like, "Oh shit! Like, I'm gonna get sued, you know?" And he comes back over to the table, and he's like, he wants to meet you. And I was like, I'm really screwed now. And then we ended up talking and hitting it off, and he's like, "Can you paint these?" Like, you know, I'm thinking about, you know, doing these prints and doing retro package art. He's all like, "What are you capable of doing?" And so I did a bunch of stuff for him. I did some prints. I did this giant, like 4-foot tall recruitment poster banner that he sold at San Diego Comic-Con a few years back. And then he decided he was going to do all these retro packages. And he asked if I could mimic the old package art from the early 80s. And the first one I did was, it was a lot of, you know, trial and error. The paint company that the original artist used was long gone, and so I had to use different like mixed media and stuff to try and to emulate that look.
Right.
And he liked it. He ended up loving it. And I ended up doing like 8 of those retro packages. Only 2 of them are out right now. The COVID-19 had kind of slowed down the release. Some of them were supposed to be exclusives. But they will be coming out at the end of the year. You can actually order them already from like Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store. But yeah, working in the package industry, and I've worked for Super 7. I've done a bunch of their glass art for the worst, you know, the like the Taco Bell and Burger King and McDonald's glasses.
I love those glasses.
I've done some of the artwork that mimic that 1970s style. You know, so the 2 and 3 color with the Zipatone.
Yeah.
So those hopefully will be coming out soon, because I've done all the art for those.
That's so cool. I can't wait till those come out.
But honestly, like the toy industry, the fans seem to be a little bit more passionate about, you know, the package art.
For sure.
You know, because, you know, we all grew up loving the G.I. Joe package art and the Hasbro and Kenner and Mattel paintings and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, it when they come up and they meet the person that has painted this piece, they're far more passionate than the comic book fans are about the covers. Comic book fans come up and they're like, "Oh, I love your cover. Can you sign it for me?" And then they walk away. The toy fans seem to come up. Yeah. The toy fans come up and they want to talk to you, like, how'd you come up with this idea? What was the process? You know?
I think
And
I think there's a lot of that. Like Marty Abrams from Mego, a lot of people like talking to him about his that work, that toy line. Jim Swearingen, who did a lot of the Kenner stuff. I mean, a lot of
yeah,
people like talking to him about that stuff.
yeah.
So
And I think a part of it is too is there's, I'm one of 10,000 comic book artists, but I'm one of like 150, 200 package artists,
Right.
that are doing like hand painted stuff, especially today. There's not as many of us. And I don't know anybody that still hand paints, package art,
Yeah.
for major companies.
is there any time that you made a mistake hand painting something and you were
Oh,
like,
shit.
oh
All the
my God.
time.
So,
All the
so
time.
what do you do? Like, what is your process in
You
terms of
paint over it. You paint over it. The girls think I'm funny because I call whiteout old school Photoshop.
That's funny.
I have whiteout pens. I have whiteout like liquid. I have whiteout tape. Yeah.
Oh my God,
So
that's great.
I've
Oh,
got all of that stuff. But and a lot of times too, though, that's the thing that is the difference I think between digital and working in like a real medium, like actual paint and ink, is that in the digital medium, if you can fix lines if they're not curved right, Photoshop will fix them for you. If you make a mistake or something like that, you click back or undo and it'll fix it for you instantly. So you have to think everything out when you're putting it on pen and paper and committing it to it because it's permanent. And if you make a mistake sometimes on pen and ink and paint, it's like Bob Ross, happy accidents.
Right.
Some things that you didn't plan on happen.
that's true.
And there's just a more natural look when it's paint and ink and paper than Photoshop. And there are guys that are incredible in Photoshop that can do these just unbelievable things. But I still think there's some things that you can do with paint that you can't do on Photoshop. Just a human can't do it right now. And
Chris and I talk
looks
about this all the time, is that the medium, everybody goes to digital and there's such a loss of, I don't know, feeling in the artwork because there's something you get when you look at something that has been done with by hand.
Yeah.
It just captures more of an energy to it. And,
Right.
I still stand by that. And I think more people should go back to the older ways of doing stuff, the older art forms. And I mean, we all are in sort of this nostalgic time anyway, so it would make sense that we revert back to that stuff.
Right. And like we were talking about earlier about DC Comics, I was just looking at a bunch of DC Comics from, the late 70s. And, there's not a ton of colors on them. There's not all this like, digital shading and stuff. And those covers are striking.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize until I was going through all these how much I miss word balloons on covers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a panel.
Yep.
It's a panel and there's just this amazing like storytelling going on it. And getting back to what you were talking about earlier about like my process, and I like when I do a cover, unless it's like the big connecting cover where they're all just standing there posing. And even that I tried, and I'll talk to you about that in just a second. But I like to tell a story on the cover. I like something to be happening, just not like the Baroness standing there, in a hot leather outfit.
Wow.
I want there to be something like going on. But like what I just mentioned in that big connecting cover where they're all standing there, if you look closely, some of those guys are interacting with each other. Some of them are talking to each other like it's a photo. Like it's like I thought back to when I was doing it, I thought back to high school and we took the big class photo. You can't corral. There's 171 characters on that picture.
Yeah.
You can't corral that many people. Like all of you look at the camera at one time, unless you got a megaphone, you're trying to do that. So,
Right.
and even then people don't listen. So they're like, I think the cover that you're on, the first one, like one of the guys is looking at another guy and they're talking like Beachhead, and Beachhead looks like annoyed that he's like speaking to him, but there's interaction going on between each of the characters. So I tried not to make it like super static. Like there's still some like life to this pose.
Right.
Yeah. So
yeah, I love that cover. I mean, dude, when you showed me I mean all of them together. I mean, dude, it's such a cool photo because not only that, it's got like crazy legs in the photo. Like it's
yes,
all the guys that are gone.
I was trying to figure out a way because it's supposed like I mean you could put like all of the characters alive or dead standing there like it's like maybe they're actors in the movie and it's their encore their cast photo or whatever so everybody's alive
right.
but I wanted it to be like G.I. Joe is a real thing and it's a snapshot in time of like where the characters are at and who's dead. I was like, how do I do that? So I saw a photo of like a memorial service and these people are walking holding these frames with the people in it in a little black band. I was like, that's perfect. That's what I'll do. And there's some characters in there. People always ask I think it's the cover that you're on.
Yeah.
There's a guy with in a photo and they're like, who is that? Who is that? And that's a deep cut. That character is Mangler.
Oh.
And he's only in one issue.
That's
and he
funny.
dies in the same issue. But then you get over to the final cover. Red shirt. 275, issue 275, which you can only see on the connected cover. The one with the full trade dress isn't out yet. But 275 are Battle Force 2000, which they appear and die. All of them except for one dies in one issue. And so that one guy, he looks all sad, Dodger. And perfect name for the one that survives, right?
Yeah.
He is there with the photo with all of them in it except for him, obviously.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah, you got the Defiant in the back on the one. That's cool, man.
Yeah, and trying to show those vehicles like making the Defiant like that's why you add some of the planes in there, like flying past the Defiant because you even though that toy is not that much bigger than the shuttle's not really that much bigger than like the Night Ravens or a Sky Striker or whatever.
Right.
You got kind of suspend disbelief and make this massive scale, and that's why I have the planes like flying around it and the mobile command center.
Right.
Putting that in the background, making that look larger than it normally is. So.
Did you? When you were like younger, did you have any of the G.I. Joes?
Or? Oh yeah, I had them all. I had them. I even had the aircraft carrier, the USS Flag.
So did I.
Yeah. I love that thing.
At my house, like my mom bought it for me for Christmas, and I remember I built it, and then it took up like half my room.
Right.
So what I had to do was I built it every so often, left it up for like a week, and then I took it down.
You have to.
A week every year I had the aircraft carrier.
I stopped collecting though. So I didn't get the space shuttle. I didn't get the Defiant.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I had stopped collecting at that point. Because I was in high school and into girls and so toys weren't a thing at that point. But yeah, I had everything from 82 on up until that point.
Yeah, I had mostly just the 80s stuff, and then when 89 rolled around, I was like a little too old, and I was like, yeah. And I held on to it probably longer than I should have at that point.
I didn't like all the Dayglow stuff. Like I didn't like all the fluorescent colors and everything.
Ice Cream Soldier.
Personally, my version 1 Snake Eyes is my favorite. I like Snake Eyes as a commando more than I do a ninja.
Yeah.
The ninja stuff was kind of neat and stuff back then, but the first version of Snake Eyes was always my favorite. And on the cover that I did for Complete Silence, originally he had the goggles, and he had no sword. And when I turned it in and submitted it, it's like he needs a sword, and you need to change it to the visor. And I was like, shit. But he's still carrying everything else. What's weird though about it is he's still a commando except for the sword and the visor because everything else is the same. He's still got the Uzi with a silencer on it and all. And
You ever just mess with them and like when they tell you that you like put like Polly on his shoulder instead? Like, oh no, it's accurate now, honest.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a time where you wanted to change a character and it? I mean, I know that particular time it didn't go through, but that you changed the character and it just subtly went by without any.
Probably a lot on this last cover. There are probably a
Okay.
lot of things that slipped through that they didn't pick up on this last color, but they were real meticulous about it. Like Gung Ho in the final one does not have, in the original art, he's got the tattoo on his chest, the Marine Corps tattoo. In the final art, he does not, because for whatever reason, the Marine Corps said no to having that tattoo on his chest.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so that's, in the final art, it's not on there.
Yeah, looking at the cover right now, that's crazy.
What is that process like? I mean, how do they even get a hold of the Marine Corps to be like, hey, on this cover, we want to have, Gung Ho's tattoo, and they're like, no, you can't.
I wouldn't think it would be an issue, to be honest with you. I thought the Marine Corps would love to have like a representation, because I always thought Gung Ho was a positive representation of the Marine Corps, especially when they released the figure in his dress blues, but no, they're like, no, it's got to come off. But I mean, I'm sure there are little things here and there that slip through.
When I was a kid, I got the dress blues figure because I come from a Marine family.
Yeah.
And so, my brother, like, he had his dress blues like hanging in the closet, and I always thought it was really cool. But then when I got the figure, I was like, what does he just do? Stand there and salute people? Like,
right? Cool. It is a weird choice for a figure. It is a super weird choice.
Yeah, I was like, why did they do this one? I'm like, I liked him in the old, his old getup, man, with the tattoo.
Right.
But hey, whatever. It's all good.
I'm gonna look up some of the questions and comments that fans wrote.
Let's check out some of these people on here.
So Patrick Robbins said, "Hey, I know that guy."
Patrick.
Hey, Patrick. I know that guy.
Beth Nichols Powell says hi. Scott Zellner says hi.
Hey, Scott.
Scotty.
Scott should email in the picture of the Destro.
Oh yeah. Can you send a photo of the Destro that got screwed up, Scott?
10 minutes to send us a picture of that so we can share
that piece of artwork that got screwed up. Okay, Byron wrote, season 1 of The Flash was good, and then it went to shit.
Yep.
Yeah, it slowly went downhill.
It's true, and it sucks because, like, if you watch, like, it's funny. Like, I'm a fan of Smallville. Speaking of Byron.
Oh my God, Smallville is amazing.
And dude, it wasn't until like the 5th or 6th season when they actually started hitting its stride. It actually got better as time went on.
And then Michael left.
Yeah.
And I think that's when it went to shit, is when he left there, because they're like, what do we do now?
Yeah. Because I
think they had plans, and then
So Trevor Bronson says, Jamie, how you been feeling lately? How about your eyes?
Good. So the surgery on Tuesday. I got IVK. It's a powdered. It's an intravenous steroid that gets injected into my eye. The vision is actually really good right now. I do have this, like, it's like looking through a glass marble. The swirls inside. That's what it looks like looking through my right eye right now. But as soon as the floaters dissipate, I should be able to draw again. Oh, because it's been like 2.5 months. I haven't drawn for 2.5 months.
Wow.
So
how do you cope with that? Because I mean, I know that that's really damaging to the sort of your mental health, because that's your livelihood.
It's stressful. It's very stressful, and again, it goes back to why I binge watch all these shows, because I got nothing else to do. But I will tell you though, it has given me time to really look at some old comic books and get a lot of information. So going forward, a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be doing, and I haven't told anybody, I haven't posted. I've been kind of off social media for a couple of weeks. But going forward, I'm really getting into painting, like with acrylics and gouache and stuff like that. And so I'm going to be trying my hand at that. And a lot of the covers that you're going to see from me going forward are either going to be painted, fully painted, or I'm going to be doing kind of like that. I really want to tap into that late 60s, early 70s look, from like DC, like the Jose Luis Garcia Lopez.
Oh, I love that
stuff.
Man.
Oh yeah.
I was just looking at that today.
What's that?
I was just looking at that artwork earlier today. No joke.
Yeah, his run on Action Comics
Oh,
is it's amazing,
he's
and
so
so a lot of
So-
stuff like that, like Gil Kane. Yeah, I'm going to be trying my hand at doing stuff like that, pieces like that.
That's so cool.
We'll be looking forward to seeing some of that stuff. Peter Gold said, ask him how far the bathroom was from control room. That's fun to navigate.
Oh, that's funny you should ask. So that is that was out the door and around the corner, but what you had to punch into a code. There was like one of those little codes on the door with the buttons that you push in, and for whatever reason, sometimes it would stick. You have to hit it like 3 times and like hurry to get up. But I'll give you a little, for anybody that's listening that ever listened to Quad 106.5 in Sacramento back in the day, if you heard Bauhaus's Bela Lugosi is dead, that means we were like going to the bathroom. Like that you were going number 2 because the song's like 16 minutes long.
That's so good.
That's hilarious. And then, of course, Scott, once again, hopefully he'll send in the photo, but he wrote, see Jamie in person December 13th at Robotoy Fest, if the show is happening. So
I
right
hope
now,
so.
we hope
so, because if it's happening, that's my first show of the year.
We all hope so. We all hope so, you know? And then Jacques Deloc says, I love this stuff so much. Well, we're glad, Jacques. We love that you
love his name.
I do too. It's a great villain name, Jacques Deloc. My name is Jacques Deloc.
He should be fighting Captain America or something.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Totally.
I love the name. I love it. So, Jamie, I want to thank you for having you on, and you were phenomenal. And I want to know if you want to pitch anything, promote anything, any of that stuff. This is the time to do it.
Okay, so you can go to my website, which is jsindesign.com. You can buy stuff there. I have plenty of prints. The original art for that connecting cover that Chris is on is up for sale. It can be broken up. You don't have to frame it at 8 feet wide. It can be broken up into the individual covers. Because people are like, I can't frame that. You don't have to frame it. You don't have to frame it that big. That is available for sale. You can message me on Facebook, Instagram, or through the website if you're interested in purchasing that. It not only comes with the original art, but you get all 171 sketches of every character that I drew individually before I put them together on the
Wow. That's amazing.
I drew them. I drew them all first individually, and then put them together on it. It was just so I could give it a more natural feel. I'm going to be at Robotoy Fest. Commissions will start. I've got some commissions that I've got to get finished that were on the burner before I had the problems with my eyes. I got to get those finished first, and then commissions will start up again. And then you can get issues 271 through 275, the B covers, the connecting covers in stores, between now and the end of July. And Complete Silence from IDW. I did the cover. I will be offering CGC signature series copies of that too. So if you're interested in those, you can message me about those.
That's cool.
Nery, I got a fun fact. Scott sent in the photo, so we're gonna show it. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom in.
Oh my god!
Hold on. So apparently this is where the mess up was. As you can see, it's clear that the name was spelt wrong. So this beautiful piece of artwork absolutely destroyed to Scott. But it is beautiful. Like if you don't look closely at it, if you don't look at the autograph,
you can zoom in. So this is painted with acrylics, watercolor, and Copic ink, and you can zoom in on it. It was
wow, that's beautiful, man.
It's fairly close to the original card art by Hector Garrido.
That is so cool.
That's so
I love all that original card art. I mean, for years I've been printing up those images and having our guys sign them. I mean, I don't know anybody that doesn't love that stuff, man. I mean,
no, absolutely.
Next time I can draw them for you.
Yeah, I love it. Like, dude, that's why I bought this one, because I was like, dude, this is amazing, man.
I love your signature too, Jamie. It's very
Thanks, man.
classy.
Thanks.
And then you
You're
credit the original. I love that.
Of course, you have
you
to.
gotta
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
I mean, I painted that one, but only because Hector did it first.
Dude, it's amazing. It's such a good
Thanks,
piece.
man.
Love it.
Okay, so before we take off, Chris wants to tell you a few things. So Chris, take it away.
Yes, I do. So there will be a new CelebWorx live weekly inside look into G.I. Joe. We'll be streaming live every Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, unless otherwise announced. Our guest for next Thursday will be none other than Will Ryan. And for those people who don't know who Will Ryan is, Will was Footloose,
Rock and roll, Mutt.
Rock and Roll, and Nery,
Mutt?
and
Yes.
Mutt. And
Yes.
sometimes he was Junkyard too. When
He was
Frank
Junkyard too when Frank didn't do it. Yeah. No,
So
that's
two of the characters that he was are on the cover that you're on. Footloose
right.
and Mutt are both on the
and
same
I'm
cover.
Footloose too. So
and for people that don't know, Will Ryan rarely does interviews. So
Yeah.
this is like a big deal because he is a Disney legend. So if you're familiar with any of his Disney work, it's a big interview. So please do not miss it.
yes, very, very rare episode you don't want to miss. And so also this Sunday, before that episode, this Sunday we have our regular show, which is just CelebWorx Live. And you can check us out also on that one at 5 p.m. On Sunday. And our guest for that one is going to be none other than Diane Pershing, the original Poison Ivy from Batman the Animated Series. And she is phenomenal. We love her dearly. And she's a lot of fun. That's going to be a great episode. So check us there on Sunday too, if you can. Once again, I'm Christopher Arsaga, and you can follow me at The Real Arsaga on Instagram. And in the words of my friend Tyler Durden, we buy things we don't need to impress people we don't like. Just not Nery and not Jamie.
Not me and not Jamie,
Nope.
but we digress. And this has been Nery Lemus. You can follow me at The Real Nery Lemus on Instagram. Just leaving you with a quick saying that means a universal hello, goodbye, thanks for stopping, and stay safe always. Yo, Joe. Night, everyone.
Joe, guys. Good night.